Moving on to find out what happened in India during that period of time when the dressing pattern is changing in Great Britain, changing all around Europe, changing across the other side of Atlantic in United States. What is happening in the colonial India? Let us see now. The transformation in the colonial India, when the cloth and clothing is being considered as an important symbol for the Indian national movement at that point of time. For the modern ways of dressing, the Indian people reacted in three different ways. First, the men started to imbibe their quality of Western dressing, adopt the Western dressing by taking the baggy trousers or the baggy pants, the fenta, the hats, and also the coats, the collarless coats. These all they started to adopt, and they started to feel, mostly the community which got converted into Christianity started to feel that they are liberated and they want to have that modernity, and they feel that they are the symbol of modernity and they are in the journey of progress. So they are progressing towards ahead of modernity. Second group reacted it as it leads to the loss of the culture. They have seen that world is going to turn upside down. Bengalis used to criticize it very severely. So the second group reacted it in the importance of Indian culture. They saw that Indian culture is going to be destroyed because of the Western dressing style. Third group, that is the third group which is in a dilemma whether to follow the first one or the second one. They resolve the dilemma by simply matching these two. They wear the Western clothes as well as not giving up to wearing the Indian clothes also. So they have the habit of wearing Western as well as the Indian clothes as per requirements. Most of the times, whenever it is necessary to work outside, they used to prefer to put on the Western clothes, and where they are at their homes or casual times, they used to be in the Indian traditional dresses. So like this, there was a long history in the change of the dresses, which is a turbulent history. Caste conflicts and the dress changes. We have to observe here, India doesn't have sumptuary laws as that in France, but still India has its own set of social codes of food and dresses, which prohibited the lower caste people to consume certain amounts of food and certain kind of dresses. In 1822, women of Shahnar were attacked by the Nayanars, and they used to feel that the Shahnars are also known as Nadars, were the subordinates to the Nayars, and these Nayars considered them as subordinate caste only. They also forced the women not to wear any modern dresses, and they never ever allowed even women to cover up their upper body parts, and they always prohibited men or women to put on clothes like on their upper body parts, shoes or any kind of gold ornaments. So because they should be like that only dressed, as they are subordinates to Nayars. They also call these as local rules, and everybody should confine themselves to follow the local rules. Christian missionaries. When the Christian missionaries stepped in, many of the women of Shahnar who got converted into Christianity start to dress up themselves by putting on blouses and clothes on their upper parts of the body, which was not accepted at all by the Nayars. They, even Ayya Vaikandar, who also participated in the dress reform, also said that we need the dresses to be modified, and there is no compulsory on the basis of the caste that they have to dress. They have to dress as per their necessity and requirement and to cover their bodies, but not according to their birth of the caste system. Now, Nayars again attacked the women publicly. Whoever covered their upper parts, they used to tear off the upper cloth of the woman. Like this, very violently the Nayars used to react. So what happened then? How did the women protest? What were the consequences of this? The government of Travancore in 1829 gave a referendum, a notice that it gave a judgment saying that they abstained women from further covering the upper parts, but the women did not follow this one. Not only the Christian women, but also the Hindu women also of the Shahnar community or the Nadar community started to wear on the blouses and continue. In 1855, the abolition of the slavery was again passed by the government. This frustrated the upper caste because they are leaving their hold or they are losing their hold over the society. The domination will be reduced if the slavery is abolished. And later, in 1859 October, the riots broke out when the upper caste people Nayars attacked the Nadar women and tore off the cloth on the upper part of their bodies, which is covering their upper parts of the bodies, was really horrible. And they even entered the houses, destroyed the houses and burned the chapels. These all situations made the government to react firmly and passed a new proclamation stating that the women of Nadar community can also wear the jacket in any manner and whatever. That should not be same as that of the jacket which is put on by the higher caste woman. There should be some difference between the high caste women's dressing style and the lower caste women's dressing style. With this, we come to the end of the dressing society in our country, where the domination was there basing on the caste system. Now we move on to the British dressing style. Now, moving on to understand the British rules and the dress code in comparison with the Indian style of dressing. Indians generally wear a turban, which is a religious ritual and it cannot be removed as per the will. It is a respect and it is a tradition followed by a particular religious community. When it comes to the hat, hat is worn by the Britishers just as a fashion and it is removed off when there are social superiors present. Now moving into the details of the conflict. Indians and the Britishers used to visit India regularly. So in order to differentiate the Indians and the Britishers, they started to call the turban wearers and the hat wearers. As the time passed on, Britishers now started to consider turban equal to that of hat, as hat can be removed and it is a compulsory that has to be removed when there are social superiors above them. But when it comes to turban, they started to apply the same rules, asking to them and saying that whenever they enter the courtrooms or whenever they enter any government officials' offices or anything, they have to remove their turbans, which the Indians firmly resisted that, saying that this is not a fashion, this is our religious tradition and custom which upholds our respect, so we cannot do that. This was the first issue where Indian dressing style was in controversy with the Britishers' dressing style. Indians have the turban not for fashion, whereas Britishers used to have the hat just only for fashion. So that was a major difference. And moving on to the next one, the turban is also later started to be identified as a national identity and it's not as a national fashion. Moving on further, Indian etiquette. Indian etiquette was another important controversial issue between the Britishers and the Indians. That is, in 1830, European people were prohibited wearing the Indian clothes. Actually, Indian etiquette was a normal custom which they used to wear, and they used to put on the shoes. Whenever Indians enter into any holy places or anywhere, they used to remove their shoes and they used to enter. But when it comes to entering into any government offices, the Indians were not allowed to enter into the government offices and they are forced to remove the shoes, which really worried the people. And in 1830, Europeans till that time used to wear the Indian traditional dress wear also. Europeans were strictly prohibited to put on the Indian clothes during the traditional meets, whichever happens, or the official meets, whatever happens, so that the dignity of the white man is not reduced. And moving further, from 1824 to 1828, the then Governor General Amherst made a rule that Indians have to show off when they are entering into the government offices or whenever they come to meet him. But he did not implement this strictly. But later, who succeeded him, Lord Dalhousie, made it a very strict rule that the Indians are forced to remove their shoes before they enter into any government offices, which was really worrying for many of the Indian civil servants also. And only the people, those who are dressed themselves in the European style, were allowed to put the shoes themselves. A big defense happened in 1862 when in Surat, Manok Ji, an assessor, refused to remove his shoes when he entered into the court. Well, the court ordered him to remove the shoes. He remained adamant and he did not respond to this. With this, the angry judge asked him to leave the court and sent a notice to the High Court of the Governor General of Bombay. So with this, it has become a common comparison that when Indians are entering into a holy place, they generally remove off their shoes. Then why are they not removing when they are entering into the government offices? For this, the explanation is very clear and straight. First, the shoes have the dirt and they also have the filth. The dirt and the filth. When you are entering into a holy place, the dirt should be removed off when you are entering into a clean place. And next, filth, which is polluting, that should be left out. That too, when in India, in the temples, we have the custom of sitting down and also sitting along with the family members or entering into the homes. So there we cannot use the shoes which are having dirt and filth, which are causing harm and creating pollution for us. So this is different. When it is come to entering into the offices, where it's not a holy place, it is a general office where number of people work. So how can we compare both of them together? This issue started to go to a very long discussion, and courtrooms are no more considered as holy places. It took a very long time to allow the people to come into the court with the shoes. This is the difference between the British rule and Indian dress code.
If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel to get more videos on CBSE syllabus.